was talking fantasy football with my friends the other day.
Alan, Bravo.
November.
Tango.
On.
Football.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bent on Fantasy Football. We are live on Facebook and we're here at Marco's Vapors. Yeah! That's the kind of stuff I like to hear. All right, so we've got a huge show for you tonight. Now, as you guys know, tonight is, what night is it? Wednesday night.
Tonight's Wednesday night.
All right, so tomorrow is Thursday. What happens on Thursday, Josh?
Thursday kicks off the season,
It starts what season?
NFL season.
Also, the fantasy
football season.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. So we've got a lot of stuff to talk about with that. Before we go too far, though, I do want to talk about why I have this belt again. In the very first episode, we talked about this. This season, I'm dedicating specific parts of the season to people that I've lost in the past. This one comes from my good buddy, actually my best friend, who passed away in 2016, Carl Wilson. So he was the last one to win this thing. So I got it, and I'm going to hang on to it. See, this show's for you. All right, enough of that stuff. Let's get on to the good stuff. Josh, tell them what we got going on today.
What we got going on today, we're live at Marco's Vapor on 1957 Paulus Drive, right out by Cherryville Mall.
Yep.
Marco's has two locations, not only the one out here by Cherryville Mall, but they're on North 2nd Street in McChesney as well, 10201 North 2nd Street.
Yep. So we've got some stuff to give away, but we want to talk about what we do every week. We always name our beers. So
We
this
do.
week,
I was hoping you wouldn't forget that this week.
Yeah,
That would have been
see?
5 weeks in a row.
No,
so.
that's not the part I forget. It's the popping over. Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on. We'll
Anyway,
keep the show
so-
moving. All right. So what we do every week is we name our beer, right? So this week my beer is Marco's Vape Beer. Beer. Josh.
Yeah, same thing. He likes to copy me, and especially a lot of our fantasy picks.
Mine's
so.
got wings. All right, so that's enough of that. But anyway, we do have some NFL stuff to talk about this week. But before we do
get
that,
started,
every week, as we always do, we want
gonna-
you guys to join us and pop open a cold one and enjoy the show. All right. Man, we got a lot of cool stuff going on this week. We got some beer.
We got some beer pong.
I see a beer pong table set up over here. We got some giveaways. We got some cool stuff going on at Marco's Vapor. So if you guys are able, come on out and join us. All my Facebook peeps, you guys can check this out on YouTube later on the YouTube channel. We're recording it for later, but live on Facebook, come down and see us. If all the letters are backwards, which I'm noticing, don't worry about that.
I was
Trust me.
talking fantasy football.
Ixnay.
Ixnay.
All right.
That was my bad.
So we will translate everything for you since it does really say Marco's Vapors. I promise. Marco's Vapor.
Vapor.
Yeah,
He
no
always
S,
says the
no
S.
S.
So
All right. So
it's kind of like Sterling Sharp instead of Shannon Sharp, isn't it?
Right. So let's talk about tomorrow night's game. We've got a couple teams. We've got Tampa Bay playing. We've got they're playing Dallas.
Dallas Cowboys,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what's your thought on the matchup?
The matchup earlier in the week when we looked at it, I think the line was about 6. Tampa Bay was favored by 6. It's up to 8.5 now, which means that a lot of people think that Tampa Bay is just going to blow them out.
Yeah.
I know you're not, and I'm not really so sure about that.
Yeah. Now I think Dallas has got a team that is going to come out with a chip on their shoulder. Last year they lost the quarterback. The house of cards, like I said, fell apart. But I think they're going to come out strong, and I think they're going to come out strong in the first 2 quarters. After that, they might realize they're playing Tampa Bay's defense, but until then, they're going to have a good, solid game.
Absolutely, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Zeke, I'm projecting for a huge game, actually. Zeke, a lot of people are down on this year, but if you remember, the 4 games that Dak played, Zeke was what number running back?
He was number 2, wasn't he?
Number 2 or 3 running back
He
in
was
both
number 2,
PPR
yeah.
and non-PPR
Yeah, so-
with Dak in, and we're talking 8 to 10 targets a game. That could
Yeah.
be huge fantasy points
Yeah,
right there.
even at 8 to 10 targets a game, you're looking at 6 to 7 catches. That's still fantasy points building up. So, yeah, I see a lot of good stuff. I think Dak is going to have, not Dax, Dak is going to have a good...
He's called him Dax before, many times.
Usually in private, but anyway, I think Dak is going to have a good game. Again, another player coming out with a chip on his shoulder, ready to throw the ball, got all of his targets, surrounded by a lot of talent. He's going to come out hard and strong, but what's going to happen? Again, Tampa Bay's defense is not one to laugh at. They're solid on both sides of the ball.
It really isn't. It really isn't. And Tom Brady, as we've seen throughout the years, he thrives in prime time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and his record is somewhere up along with Peyton Manning, Brett Favre as the best of all time in primetime games.
Yep.
I'm not saying Dallas will win that game. I'm saying they're going to keep it competitive. And I still think it's going to be a huge, high-scoring game. The over-under is what, 51 and a half?
Yeah,
I mean, that's gigantic.
Crazy, yeah.
You know, which means for fantasy owners, that's like a gold mine right there. That's huge points.
A lot of Thursday night points. You gotta love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, I was looking at that too, and think about that. You know, the previous Super Bowl team always plays on the first game of the season, but who did they pick to play them? They picked a team that finished third in the worst division in football.
The worst division in football.
Them. You know why they picked them? Because they're a big money maker.
Absolutely.
They bring in the
they
ratings.
are.
They bring in all that other stuff. So horrible job on that, NFL. Do better next year. Actually, do better with all the Thursday night games next year. Last year's were kind of bad too, but you know I'm not out to get the NFL. So.
Absolutely.
So anyway, you know we were kind of going through some stardom and sit-em options too that we wanted to come on in. Water's fine. Come on in.
As you know, we're doing the show live in Marco's Vapors
Yeah.
here, so as customers are coming in, they're enjoying the show and Marco's wonderful store here.
Hopefully they're enjoying the show. I don't know.
Seeing us make a fool out of ourselves.
Exactly, that's what it's all about. So anyway, we wanted to go through some stardom and sit-ems that we have going on. That Josh kind of has some, and I have some. We have our own reasons for it, but we want to run through that, and then we're going to get into looking at the store a little bit and talk to Marco and some of the guys that are working here. So, Josh, why don't you go ahead and start out?
All right, so we're going to do skill positions. We're not going to do a defense. We're not going to do a kicker because most people stream those anyway.
Yeah, they don't make or break your team.
And it doesn't really matter. You could get a lucky pick here or a lucky 50-yard field goal there. So we're going to do quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end.
Yep.
My number one quarterback, and this goes beyond popular opinion for a lot of people, and that's Zach Wilson. I think that Joe Brady offense in Carolina is going to put up a lot of points.
Yep.
Okay. That New York Jets offense really doesn't have much. They don't have much of a running game. They're going to have to throw like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and Zach Wilson, he has great rapport with his receivers this year. Now, that being said, not a lot of people have him as their starting quarterback for fantasy this year. But he's my must-start for Week 1 if you have him in your lineup.
Yeah, and you know, I expect some good things from him this year. I just don't know how long it's going to take him to fit the mold. And I mean, he's got a rough team to jump into the NFL with the Jets.
He really does. I see a lot of junk points late in the third, fourth quarter for him.
Yeah. My stardom this week. That was your stardom, right?
That was my start quarterback.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, so my stardom is Jalen Hurts. So the reason I got Hurts as my starter, well, number one, he's playing Atlanta. That defense is going to be terrible this year. At best, they're going to be terrible. Pretty much anybody that's playing against Atlanta is one you're going to want to look at starting this year. But he's again, another emerging team. They've got some talent in different positions. They haven't been able to put it all together because of injuries. Last year was horrible with injuries, and they just haven't been able to put it all together. It's going to take some time for them to gel. But I think starting out this season, I think Jalen Hurts. I keep saying Hurts is going to be a good start.
And I think he's going to probably finish top 10 or 12. I have him in my top 10 rankings for this year.
I think I have 11.
Yeah, as a major sleeper. Now my sit quarterback, this is going to go almost against everything I just said with my start quarterback, and that's Sam Darnold. Now, granted, I think the Carolina offense is going to be up huge.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that Joe Brady offense is made for the running quarterback, which they don't have, A lot of passes are going to come out of the backfield. Christian McCaffrey is going to get a lot of those.
He
While
better because I got him on my team.
yes, while Carolina may put up big numbers, I think Darnold's going to be serviceable in a big win against New York Jets. But fantasy wise, I wouldn't consider that relevant. He's not going to put up huge numbers fantasy wise. He's going to be a good NFL quarterback and serviceable to win the game.
Right. My sit this week is Teddy Bridgewater. Why? Because he's Teddy Bridgewater. Did I say that out loud? Did I say that out loud?
You said it out loud.
Okay. Well, I didn't mean to.
Unfortunately, he says a lot of things out loud that he doesn't necessarily mean or want to.
This is true. But anyway, Teddy Bridgewater. I just don't. I don't see him. He hasn't been a serviceable quarterback since never. And I really don't see that changing. Do you see any reason why it would?
I don't. I know you and I are both super high on Jerry Jeudy this year.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a huge year, and Noah Fant. We all know you're in love with Noah Fant.
Yeah, well,
the tattoo in your lower
totally,
back says it.
In a totally platonic way, I do love Noah Fant.
That's what he'll tell you.
That's my disclaimer.
Yes. But yeah, I agree with the Teddy Bridgewater. I don't think he's going to have that starting job for that long. I mean, Drew Lock is the better pocket passer. He's the better deep threat. And he's got youth on his side, so there's no way I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to hold on to that job, especially in that division. Imagine if they go 1-2, 2-2. You got to make a move.
Yeah, they'll definitely do something. If they're going to do something, they'll do it early in the season to make sure that they still have some time to recover from it. But yeah, I don't really see it happening either. Who's your stardom for running back?
My must start is going to be Mike Davis. Okay, now I know there's a lot of questions about Mike Davis's workload this year. In the first 4 games when McCaffrey went out last year, he was a top 5 running back. Okay, he wore down, and the questions with him are his durability. Is he going to be able to handle that 20+ carries per game? Now, that being said, maybe season wide he won't. But you got to remember who they're playing week 1. They're playing Philadelphia. Okay,
it's
Philadelphia's defense, to put it mildly, is going to suck.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see Atlanta being up 2 touchdowns early on in that game.
Oh yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Davis got 22 carries in that game. So,
I can see that too.
season wide, I wouldn't necessarily say this because his longevity, his durability has been an issue throughout the years. But week 1 must start is Mike Davis.
All right, awesome. I'll go with that.
Okay.
My must start is going to be a local guy. He's a guy from Rockford, Illinois, Mr. James Robinson. The reason is, think about this now. Travis, is it Etienne?
Etienne, or Etienne, however you pronounce it, out of Clemson. And I showed you a lot of his highlight videos.
He's out
because
for
you
the
don't
season.
watch college, remember?
He's out for the season. So with that, all I see is green in front of Robinson. He's going to be running the ball like crazy. I mean, they brought him in, or they did that draft pick. They picked E.T. or whatever the hell his name is.
Etienne, Travis Etienne.
Yeah, that guy. They picked him. They picked him because they wanted to give some relief to
He
Robinson.
can't even pronounce Johnson if that's his last name. So give him a break.
All right, so next week's show will not have Josh on it. The chair just put me too. Oh.
But no, I love your pick of James Robinson. Now, we both know Jacksonville's going to suck this year. They're going to be atrocious. That being said, they're playing Houston week 1, who's probably going to be the only team that's worse than them this year.
Well, and
not to mention the Bengals.
Yeah, and if you think about it too, though, I mean, they got a brand new quarterback now. Everybody's going to be looking at them to throw the ball. So it's going to take a little bit of heat off of Robinson too. So that's why I went with him. I think he's a definite must.
Trevor Lawrence has legs like they haven't seen since Mark Brunell in his prime.
Right.
You know, mid to late 90s. So I really like that pick there. So.
Okay. And then who is your the sit-em?
My must sit here, and this is going to be very unpopular. I'm going to go with Najee Harris from Pittsburgh. Okay, a lot of people have him as their top 10 running back, and yes, I know. There's issues on that offensive line for Pittsburgh.
There is, but man, I tell you what, that's a hard pill for me to swallow.
And I'm saying season wide. I drafted him in the 3rd round. I told you I love him season long. But they're playing Buffalo week 1.
Yeah.
Buffalo's defensive line is elite to say the least. Okay, I see Buffalo being up big, early and often. You know, they're going to score quite a bit. And Najee Harris, yes, And yes, Pittsburgh said they want to bring him into that Le'Veon Bell role that has been vacated since Le'Veon Bell left.
Pittsburgh's defense is not something to sneeze at, though. That they got a tough defense.
Remember, T.J. Watt's out, so.
Yeah, he's not the whole defense, though.
I know he's not. But all I can say is Najee Harris this week, beware. Yes, I'm going to start him because I have to. You know, I don't have any other option in that fantasy league.
You're welcome.
And I'm not saying I hate Najee Harris, but as a week 1 start, I'm not buying it.
Okay.
I'm not buying it.
Fair enough. My must sit is Deandre Swift. And we talked about this before, and we actually both picked the same
Yes,
player.
we both picked Swift.
So
but
Josh went to his second
Yes.
choice. But DeAndre Swift is. I can't see the Detroit defense or offense even getting off the ground. I can't even see them moving the ball.
And who really knows what kind of role Jamal Williams is going to play?
Yeah, there's too many variables there. It's way too much. I just don't see anything happening with it.
All right, well, I agree with that.
All right, so wide receiver, what do you got for your must start?
And here is I'm going back to the New York Jets-Carolina game. It's going to be Corey Davis.
Okay.
Corey Davis, yes, he's about the 105th on the ADP for PPR, non-PPR, right around there, within a few positions. Zach Wilson has already proven that he's built a nice rapport with him in the preseason.
Mm-hmm.
You know they're going to be throwing a lot. His route running has been better. His separation has been better. This looks like a Corey Davis that, you know, the Tennessee Titans drafted number 5 overall. I'm not as high on him as other people are season-wide, but I think he's going to have a big week 1, especially with that rapport. A young rookie quarterback, he's going to go to Corey Davis. That's where he feels comfortable.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you at all. I think that's actually a good pick. And you probably won't hear me say that very much about anything Josh picks. I usually go against it and 90% victory here.
And he does.
But anyway, no, I do like that. My wide receiver that I think you got to start this week is going to be Brandon Ayuk. We talked about him in a past show, and we're both really big on him this year. One of the few things we agree on, but we do agree that offense in general is going to be a juggernaut as long as they stay away from the injuries. That was the thing that hurt them last year is the injuries also. So I think if they can stay away from that, Ayuk's going to have a big season.
And I agree. And I don't just love him because he went to my alma mater, Arizona State. And we've talked about this. We both pumped him up for the last 2-3 weeks. He's got a clear-cut path to the number 1 receiver in San Francisco.
Yep. And then who is your must-sit?
My must-sit, and you're not going to like this, Alan, but it's going to be Allen Robinson. And Allen Robinson, I know, he's a top 10 receiver. Now, yes, I know the Rams are going to be up big against the Bears this week, and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot.
Okay, I'm hearing a lot of lies coming out of your mouth right now.
See who does better this year in fantasy. But remember who he's going up against. He's going up against Jalen Ramsey. Okay? I could see Darnell Mooney playing a big role this week.
Mm-hmm.
But Allen Robinson right now, for his price, especially in DFS, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see it this week.
Okay, well, man, you're killing me. Allen Robinson, like we talked about, is quarterback proof. He's also defense proof. It doesn't matter. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his receptions. It doesn't matter.
But he plays for the Bears, Alan.
All right.
And until Justin Fields is in at quarterback, I don't trust anything that comes out of Andy Dalton's hands.
All right, so I won't argue the point with you. We'll just wait till Sunday night, see what happens. I think you're going to see a different perspective after that. But anyway, I'll accept that answer for now. My must sit is going to be Mike Williams from the Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm looking at with Williams is, again, a guy who's going to get his targets, a guy who's going to get his receptions. Not this week, though. I like him for the season. I just don't like him this week.
And I'd agree with you on that one. So you might as well record that because that's not going to happen a lot, is it?
No, it won't. Matter of fact, even if I have to go against what I believe just to disagree with you, I'm going to do that from now on.
Absolutely. So let's move into tight ends.
Well, before we do that, I do want to talk about something that we've got going on with the story here.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and I want to kind of do this real quick, but we've got a contest. Marco is actually going to have a giveaway here. And what we want you to do, if you want to win something from Marco's, is you'll get a $30 gift card. But we want you to go on to
and that's
Marco.
enough to get you a starter kit, basically.
A starter kit, yeah.
Or anything else.
Yeah, a $30 value. There's a lot of things, and we'll show you some of the stuff too in just a little bit when we take a tour of the store. But a $30 value can go a long way here. So in order to win that $30, that gift card, what you'll need to do is go on to Marco's website, which is marcosvapor.com, and find 2 of his homemade juices. You'll see the Marco's Vapor logo just like that on the website next to the juice. Find one of the 2 that have the letter Z in the name.
So that start with the letter Z, isn't it?
No, either way.
Start with the letter Z, like Marco said, Alan.
Either way, it doesn't matter. We could go either way. It doesn't really matter. See where I'm going with this? What's that?
21 plus.
Oh, yep. You got to be 21 plus to win and to be in the store. So make sure that you do that. But yeah, go into the website. Find one of the 2 juices that have a letter Z in it, or start with the letter Z. Same thing. But anyway, find one of those. You can email it to us at bentffb@gmail.com, or you can just make a comment on the live here, and we want to see if anybody can get it before we leave. If not, we're going to roll it to next week, and we'll find out who it is through the email. So again, the email address to send it to is bentffb@gmail.com. All right. So I'm sorry. Moving on to the tight ends, my friend.
Sorry, we're going to get into the tight ends now. And my must start is going to be T.J. Hawkinson.
Okay.
Now, I know we're not really high on many Detroit players this week, especially against that San Francisco defense.
Mm-hmm.
But what other options does Detroit have? They really don't.
Yeah, I like
that,
T.J. Hawkinson.
That running game isn't going to go anywhere. I don't trust any of those other receivers. In fact, we don't even know most of the receivers' names in Detroit.
Right.
They're that bad. But we know.
Since Marvin Jones left,
But Goff feels safe with Hawkinson. He's going to get his targets, and they're going to be junk targets. Third, fourth quarter. Yeah, late in the game. So I love Hawkinson this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hawkinson's probably one of the ones that I would have picked if I hadn't went with the one that I picked, which is Logan Thomas. I like Logan Thomas on the season. Even
I do too.
He's got a lot of talent, and he's kind of one of those guys that's flying under the radar. On my group page on Facebook, for those of you that are watching on YouTube, I have a group page on Facebook, Bent on Fantasy Football. Go check it out. I graded some lineups for some friends and some members of the group, and I talked a little bit about Thomas. Thomas is one of those guys that's flying under the radar. You're not going to hear a whole lot about him until you hear a whole lot about him. So I like him this week too. He's in a good situation, and I think he's just going to have a huge week.
Yeah, besides Gibson and McLaurin, who else is there besides Thomas, right?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of options.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we went through our start 'em and sit 'em. We didn't do a sit 'em. I didn't do a sit 'em for tight ends.
I did, yes.
Okay, who is
and it's
yours?
going to be Dallas Goddard.
Okay. Why?
Dallas Goddard, we know he's going to get his targets, but with Ertz back, we really have yet to discover, what role Ertz is going to play, what role Goddard's going to play, and how it's going to affect them vulturing targets from each other.
It's only going to matter until Ertz gets hurt again, and then once he gets hurt, it's been like every season he gets hurt at a certain point. Once he gets hurt, it'll be all over, and then we'll go back to
and not to mention they're playing on a crappy team out of the NFC East. So there's not going to be a lot of viable fantasy options in that
not much at all there.
team,
I
right?
agree. Yeah, as you can see, this year we're pretty much either it's a boom or a bust team for us. So anyway, I didn't do a sit-em. So I do want to talk to Marco. Where'd Marco go? Hey, you see that guy in the Forte jersey out there? Can somebody grab him for me? Oh, I think he's coming in now. There he is. Josh, do you mind letting Marco have a seat for just a minute here? I just want to talk to him real quick.
Can interrogate me?
Yes, I am. All right, everybody, this is Marco Altamore. He actually owns Marco Vapors.
What's up, everybody? Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
So yeah, we've first of all, thank you for having us in the store and playing host to us and providing all the stuff that you did, the food, the beer, and all that stuff. Fantastic job. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
As you know, I've been coming into this store for a long time.
Five or 6 years.
Yeah, actually, you may not remember this, but I was actually your first customer in the store.
What?
Yes. Yeah. I came in on the day you opened up. You none of this was here.
Oh,
you
no.
You had one case over here that had juices in it, and you were basically putting stuff together as I walked in the door.
Wow.
And you were like, "Oh, hi. Hi. What can I do for you?" And I'm like, "Well, what's your most popular juice?" And
It's probably watermelon or something.
no, actually, it had a unique name to it.
Tiger's blood?
No,
Hold on.
it started with a B.
Bust a nut?
Bust a nut. Yeah.
Wow.
And so about a week later, I came in and bought a bottle of it, and I've been coming back here ever since. So
That is crazy, man.
I didn't figure you'd remember that, but yeah.
7 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So it's been 7 years. Perfect. So anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit about the store. Tell us about Marco's Vapors.
So we started in 2014. Been here over 7 years. Started off as one shop. It was pretty small. We're like in a basement. It was all carpeted, kind of musty. And basically, we just started helping people get off of cigarettes. And we've reinvested. We redid the store. We got a lab at this Cherryville location, which is right there. That's where we make all the house juice. You can get hundreds of flavors with about a dozen different nicotine levels and BG-PG ratios, so you can get it very specific to your needs. We have starter kits. We have devices for advanced. We have CBD. We have D8, so kind of more accessory products. And since then we've opened another location in McChesney, so we have 2 locations. This one's cool because it has the lab. McChesney has a drive-through, so that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Okay. And we mentioned the giveaway that you're doing. So they're going to get on the website. They're going to check it out. Find one of those 2 juices that start with a Z, and they'll email us in, or we'll see some comments here, and we'll find out who's going to win that. I do want to kind of take a little tour around the store because, like I said, I was one of your first customer in here, and that was like 3 remodels ago or something. It's been a pretty awesome growing process that you've had here and at any other store on. So I want to grab a camera and kind of walk our customers around a little bit. You want to give us a tour real quick?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Awesome. I'm gonna do both of them. All right. We're gonna take a little walk here and go with Marco. I know the sound changed a little bit here because I walked away from the microphone, but I'm gonna try to keep it as close as I can here to the sound. All right, Marco, give us a tour, my friend.
So, starting on the left, we have some CBD products. CBD is essentially like the medical properties of marijuana, so it helps people with anxiety and possibly depression, but also aches and pains, stuff like that. We have balms, smokable, vapable, gummies, you name it.
Awesome.
This is the lab. You can maybe get a shot of that, kind of, but we have a couple hundred different flavorings up there, and that's how we mix our flavors. It's 4 ingredients in the liquid, so everything is made and mixed in there. You can get custom flavors. We also have a set flavor list if you're into that. This case right here is all of our dry herb vapables, so you can vape dry herb as in herb.
Okay.
But also concentrates.
Okay. So you meant like hemp.
Yeah, hemp,
Gotcha.
of course. Hemp and tobacco. We have a high-end display case here, which is kind of like the more expensive devices. It's kind of more for the advanced vapors. We have all of our coils, which there's like hundreds of different coils. You need a coil to actually vaporize the device. So we have a huge coil selection. And then everything in those cases is going to be other devices. Is there audio on the phone?
Yeah, we're good. We're good with the audio.
Oh, awesome. So these are kind of, these are called mods. They usually take a battery or 2 batteries and you put a tank on there. Roughly getting started with one of these, it's let's say $100, $120, because you do need a charger and batteries with that. These are tanks that go on the mods. And then
These are all the juices too. As you
Yes.
can see, hundreds and hundreds of choices for the juices. And those right there are the the house juices that Marco himself, well, not himself, but they make here in the store. I think he quit making those a long time ago.
A few years ago. Yeah, so we have premium or national brands, they call them. So those are the ones we just buy and resell. A bunch of different flavor options and nicotine levels. Those are really cool. Come from around the country, all from the U.S. though. And then we have our custom clouds. That's the brand we built ourselves, and flavors that we make ourselves.
Awesome.
These are pod devices largely. So if you want something a little bit simpler and a little bit cheaper, you go with like a pod system. That's been very popular lately. A lot of times you just change out the pod for a new pod. It's much easier to use. A lot of this is D8. We have a little bit of CBD in here. D8 is pretty much the closest thing we can get to marijuana and still sell legally. So you will still have some of those properties, and that comes in gummy form, smokable, vapable, and all that stuff as well. It's a really cool product. And then lastly, I'll show you the disposable case. So the disposables came out a couple years ago, and it's something like this. It's basically just an all-in-one piece. You don't have to fill it, you don't have to charge it. You open the package, you vape it, and you can dispose of it. So we got basically everything covered here, anything vape-related, and I would say we have the largest selection in the Rockford area.
Awesome, awesome. I can tell you, like I said, from experience, I've been coming to this store for like 7 years, and the crew here, awesome. We've got Curtis here.
Hey, what's up? What's up, guys?
Right, so
Chris has been very influential in the shop since the beginning.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Been around for a little while.
Made a
You're
lot
at
of
the
flavors.
we're here at the greatest store in Rockford.
Don't you just
so-
love it when I catch you off guard? You have no idea that was coming.
I it's better that way.
Awesome. And of course we have the anti-Chris here. The reason we call him anti-Chris is because he's anti whatever you're talking about. Doesn't matter. Like, as a matter of fact, everybody here loves fantasy football, right?
Yeah, fuck football.
He said, forget football.
Forget about it.
All right, awesome. And of course we have the beer pong here. You didn't show us that.
Yeah, we got a beer pong table. Not normally set up, but it is for this occasion.
Really? Because every time I've been, no, never mind. Forget that. I didn't say that. No, no. But this is one of the things that he's doing for us. We're gonna be playing some beer pong later after we get off the podcast here. So let's get the cameras back over here, and Josh and I have got a couple other things to talk about, and we've got a guest with us that joined us tonight, and we're going to talk to him as well about Dynasty Leagues. His name is Matt Holmes. Everybody said his name when he walked in the door. It's kind of like Cheers when Norm walked in. It's kind of funny. But yeah, let's take a look and see how we are with the camera angles. All right, I think we're good. All right. So if the sound was a little off there, it's because we walked away from the microphone. So no worries. We're new at this. Thank you, Marco. By the way, appreciate it.
Of course, thank you guys.
Yeah, and we're kind of new at this on location thing. Obviously, we're a low budget show, but you know how we could be a medium low budget show if you guys helped us out. So again, we sell advertisement. All right.
Advertising.
Very cheap. Also, we're going to have a little giveaway this week as well. Well, it'll be next week when we find out the winner. But what we're going to do is give away some premium content for our show. So what do we mean by that? So you're going to see some of the outtakes. You're going to have access to some of the outtakes from our show, which all of them are Josh's mistakes that we had. There's not a single one that I made.
Oh, you'll see. You'll see. It gets interesting.
So, but it's been fun. It's been good. So you'll have that. We're also going to give you our stardom and sit-em early in the week. When Josh and I put it together, before we even put it on the air, we'll let you guys know what it is. As far as the upcoming game for Thursday, at least, and probably the weekend too, depending on injuries and all that. But
for sure.
and there's going to be some other stuff too, some other videos, some documents on the website. Which next week we're going to fully launch the website. So we're making progress, folks. Stick with us. We're going to get through this season with flying colors. You watch. But we're going to have a lot of premium content that we're going to give away. And how are we going to do that, Josh?
Well, like we talked about the other night, we talked about funny fantasy football names.
Yep.
Or risque fantasy football names.
Yep.
Or off-the-cuff fantasy football names.
Yep.
Now, it has to be suitable for work in most cases.
Yeah.
But we're looking for your funniest fantasy football team name, or even a suggestion for a fantasy football funny team name.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take all these entries, all the people that send us these funny names. If it was your name over the last few years, or somebody else on your league's name, like I got one of mine that's HOOFHEARTED. Hoof-hearted.
Yes.
Say it fast if you're not getting that.
Who farted?
With me. But anyway, send us those things. That's what we want to see. And like I said, we're going to give away a month of free content, free extended content, I guess, because we're going to expand on some of the shows that we do and have some fresh stuff too. So we're going to give all that premium content away next week. So either on here, or again, you can send your entry into bentffb@gmail.com, and we want to see those names, and we'll get a winner pick for you next week.
Why are you wearing a hat tonight, Alan?
Well, Josh, we're going to talk about this. Look, I'm a little self-conscious.
For real?
Self-conscious about what?
Well, I think, I'm not really sure, but take a look and tell me, am I losing my hair?
Oh, wow. You're definitely losing your hair.
Think so?
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed
can
it
almost see
receding.
myself in your forehead.
I see it receding a little bit, but it's gotten worse over the last 51 years. All right, so Josh, what else do we have to talk about tonight?
Not much. We do have a special guest with us that's going to talk about some dynasty leagues, and I'm going to get up for a moment while he comes in and joins you.
Yep. All right. So Josh will be back in just a minute, and I want to bring in Matt Holmes.
It's like the thing of the past now, though.
Welcome, Matt. Good to see you. Didn't have a chance to shake your hand when you walked in. So real quick, kind of a little history about you and I. We worked together at Verizon at one point.
For a while.
Yeah, and so we've known each other probably 8 or 9 years, something.
About
like that.
10, yeah.
Yeah,
About
pretty
decade.
close to that. So we've talked about a lot of fantasy football stuff over the years, and we very rarely agree, just like Josh and I. And just like Josh and I, I'm always right and you're wrong. But anyway, no, I wanted to bring you in, and I wanted to talk about dynasty leagues a little bit. I know we're past the point in the preseason where we're going to be doing any more drafting or anything, but we had an interesting conversation the other day when we talked about your dynasty league and how you guys do it, and some of the picks you had to go with. So I want to kind of have you run through your league a little bit. Tell us about it.
So this league started 5 years ago. So we have been playing, me and a couple of the guys have been playing on and off for the last 25 years together.
Okay.
So through different leagues and different commissioners and all that stuff. So this league has been together for 5 years. We have a movable draft, so generally it's a live draft, and we move. Like this year's draft was in Michigan. I didn't attend. We had some guys that had wives or significant others that were pregnant that didn't attend.
So they're all over the country.
Yep.
Okay. That's awesome.
You might know Dave Rosa. Do you remember
Yes.
Dave
Oh,
Rosa?
yeah.
Dave Rosa's in that league with me.
Okay.
I've known Rosa for 12 years.
Yeah.
So long time. Dave is in North Carolina. We got a guy in. Most of the guys are in Chicago-ish.
Okay.
But yeah.
So tell us about how the leagues work. So we talked about you keep 9 players.
Yep. So how the
pretty
league?
deep.
Yeah. So how the league works is, we keep 9.5. We call it a half a player. So it's 9 players and 1 either kicker or defense.
Okay.
So the talent pool gets we keep 22 players. We have 3 IR spots with COVID and everything else like that. That keeps the league fresh and running. Premium players in the draft are young rookie running backs.
Okay.
So, like
Makes sense.
every draft, the first pick has always been a running back. First pick was Le'Veon Bell 5 years ago. We had 4 years ago was Saquon Barkley. 3 years ago was I just went through
Don't
this.
test my memory because I won't
Yeah,
remember.
3 years ago. 3 years ago was Hilaire.
Oh, okay.
No,
No,
Hilaire
that
was
would've been
last year.
yeah.
2 years ago, and it's just been rookie running backs.
Yeah, I get it.
Throughout the thing, this year, Najee Harris was our first pick.
Okay.
And then our first 5 picks were all rookies. So we started off with Harris, then it went Keith or Pitts, the tight end / wide receiver from Kyle Pitts. Then Etienne went third. Then the rookie running back from Denver, William.
So
Yeah.
So when the rookies are off the board, because you have a handful of really good rookies out there, right? So when the rookies are off the board, what's coming next? I mean, because we talked about some of the draft picks that you had, and that was pretty damn deep.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because y'all brought up some of the wide receiving core from Detroit, and I actually drafted Quintez Cephas, who the question is going to be, who is that guy? He's basically the number 2 wide receiver in Detroit, because when you look at it, we have 22 times 10, so 220 players are done. So and that's not including people that are hurt, people that are injured, and all that stuff. So you look at it, and
Now this is a 12-team league. Too.
10.
Oh, 10. Okay, I thought it was a 12-team league.
10 team.
Okay,
So
that's a little bit better because
Yeah.
when we were talking about this, I thought you said 12,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my gosh, that's gonna get into people that haven't even made it to the NFL yet.
well, and that's kind of the interesting side of it, is that when you're in a league like this, you're not just thinking for this year. I've been playing legacy leagues or a variation of legacy leagues forever. I made a joke earlier that I actually had Joe Montana on one of my teams. And you have to think differently. That's why these younger players have more of a premium on them, because it's like, all right, you talked about Travis Etienne. All right, Etienne in 80% of the leagues right now, like regular redraft leagues, he's cut. Same thing with the guy from Baltimore, Dobbins. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins. He's the same thing. All these, they're released because they can't play this year. They're not going to play this year. Everything. Well,
So when you go back into the pool and you can draft them in a couple of years
Yeah.
or next year. Okay, I got you.
well,
Okay.
in our league, these guys are protected.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
like with these 8-9 guys, they're protected. So these guys, like last year we have a team that had Saquon Barkley and traded for Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
So just because these guys are hurt doesn't mean these guys don't have value. Where in these redraft leagues, J.K. Dobbins does not have any value right now,
Right.
and because he can't, because he's not going to play this year.
Right, he's out.
And I think a legacy league is more like an NFL team because
Because you're
Yeah.
building your team over.
it's not just building your team, but you have to think that way, where you have multiple players, multiple positions, and things like that.
So let me ask you this. I had an opportunity, like we talked about, I had an opportunity to get on a Dynasty League. I waited a little bit too long and ultimately passed up on the opportunity. Excuse me. So if I had that opportunity next year, what do you say, Dynasty League or not? Because you're married to that league.
Yep.
Once you get in that, you're married to that league.
Yep.
You know, the divorce is not an option.
Right. Well, it can be an option. I mean, obviously that's where these spots come up. But the question that I have is,
When I do something, man, I do it for life.
for real, not everybody's that way. But when you get an opportunity to do these leagues, some of the things you have to look at is, what team are you taking over? Who's the talent on that team? I mean, if you have a team like we have some teams that aren't that deep, you know, that don't have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 protectable players, where you're not that way. And at that point, you need to take a look at what position are you drafting, who's the talent coming into this year. I know that you don't really follow college football.
Nope.
But that is something that is key, because you're seeing a guy like I had the second pick last year. I took Jonathan Taylor.
See, that's where it hiccups me, because college football. Okay, for all you college football fans, I am totally sorry for you. But anyway, I respect you. But college football games, it scores like 97 to 98 all the time. You don't know if that's a good defense or a bad offense or what it is. So I don't watch college football, and in order to do a dynasty league, I understand at least down the road you're going to have to do that, and I don't have that commitment.
Well,
That's my problem.
And that's part of the thing, is that this isn't just 1-2 years. I mean, you look at a guy like Joe Burrow. Okay, Joe Burrow only started one season at LSU, but also you look at some of these other guys that you probably don't know, or you may know, like a kid like Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase was our 5th pick in our draft this year. You know, that is a guy that is like, all right, this is someone that I can not build my team around, but this is protectable player 7 or 8, and then all of a sudden, dude, this guy blows up. A good example, last year, Justin Jefferson from Minnesota. Justin Jefferson, well, I don't want to say wasn't a no-name because he was still a first-round pick, but he got drafted in the 2nd round, and all of a sudden, this dude is now one of the top 10 wide receivers. DK Metcalf was another guy. I drafted DK Metcalf right out of with the year that he came out. And with that, I watched DK grow. He blew up last year, had a great season his rookie year. This year is, you know, now he's the top 5 to 7 wide receiver in the league. And it's having that foresight to understand, hey, this is what's going on. Yeah, I get your point about, you know, these competitions and, you know, are these teams good, are these defenses bad, the whole 9 yards. When I look at these players, I'm looking at, and I'm a Big Ten guy. I'm all about the University of Wisconsin. You know, me and Josh have been talking about J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, Ron Dane, all these guys. I have a Ron Dane jersey at home. I should have wore it today. But you look at SEC football. SEC football and college football is by far the best in the land. Okay. And you look at the rankings. Alabama's number 1, Georgia's number 2. Oh, by the way, SEC football.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what that is? That's college football. I don't listen to college football, so I'm sorry, I can't follow you that far.
Yeah, but,
and again, going back to that, I don't have the dedication to do that to a college football level. So, you know, it's one of those things that I would do that, but it would take a whole lot of commitment for me, and I can't do that. So I don't know that Dynasty League is necessarily for me. Josh, have you ever been on a Dynasty League before?
I have, and I don't prefer them.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, everybody has their own thing.
And this is, so I've said this before, I don't want to say this is all I know, but I've played Dynasty or a variation of Dynasty League since '93. You know, when, you know, I protected Keyshawn Johnson after I drafted him.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I got to get Josh back in here because we're running low on time, but because they're gonna pull the plug on us at some point here. So anyway, thank you for coming in. I appreciate having you here.
No problem.
And go grab a beer, man. You got a beer yet?
Nah, I got my drink right here.
Did I mention it's free?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate having you on, man. All right. So, Josh.
One thing I do want to correct, Matt.
He's got a correction.
Le'Veon Bell was not a rookie in 2016, so.
Right, he was the first pick. That was the first pick of the league.
I'm pretty sure Josh.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Josh has an eidetic memory or a photographic memory or something. He just won't admit it. But anyway, because he remembers the craziest things. But anyway, so Josh, we once again, everybody, we're here at Marco's Vapors. We talked about the contest that we have going on. We've got some giveaways of our own. If you didn't see it, rewind it, watch the video again, watch it 100 times, and don't forget to like and share, and email us at bentffb@gmail.com. Josh, do you have anything else you want to add to today's show?
We're here for you. I mean, we're not professional fantasy football players. We do it because we love it.
Like I said on the website, man, it's just two idiots sitting back, having a drink and talking football. That's what we do.
Yes.
So
do us a favor. Go on the YouTube channel, like and subscribe.
Yep.
Even if you don't like us, subscribe.
Yep. We want to get some more lives out. This has been a blast being here at Marco's, and
You said lives out, not likes out.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Okay. See, that's where we draw the line. So we're cutting this show off now. Once I start losing it and start getting giddy, we're done. But anyway, it has been a blast being here at Marco's. I want to thank Marco and the whole crew here. Come on down again, 1957 Hollis Drive in Rockford, right across from Bush Jewelers, right down the road from Cherryville Mall. Josh, what do you got?
Not much.
Okay.
Thank you to Marcos, and you guys are welcome with us on Get Bent on Fantasy Football anytime.
Yeah, and remember, the season kicks off tomorrow night. If anybody doubts that, tell them to get bent.
On Fantasy Football.
Have a good night, everybody.